The end of February marks spring break for students at Western Michigan University. While many destination spots like Florida, Mexico, and Hawaii were visited by most students, 8 Western Michigan students took an adventure to Tennessee. I sat down with these students to talk to them about their adventure. The class, called Risk Taking and Change, was the brainchild of Dr. Richard Oxhandler.
It evolved, and I think part went back to a time when I realized how afraid I was of a lot of things when I was in college, and that I didn't want to live that way, and I knew I needed to take risks. Well, that's background. Then we progressed through education and the rest of it, and I get to a point where I wound up going on Outward Bound, and part of the reason I went is I wanted to have an experience with a group that was organized and respected enough that I might at some point want to do something like this. I had no idea that I ever would. Came back, got hooked up with people who had just been ready to open the new Adventure Center out at Pretty Lake. One thing led to another, and then I'm working at Western. Things come together, like streams coming together, and here's this opportunity to do a class.
It was obvious from the start that this wouldn't be your typical spring break.
Went through the whole list. I didn't want the typical lecture style class. I'm bored of it. And I saw just the title, Risk Taking and Change. I hate change, but I'm feeling better about it these days. And I knew I was just at a point in my life, like, it just stuck out. Like, I've gone backpacking before, and it was just like everything I needed in one class.
And like tucked yourself in, like clogged the hole with like hats and gloves and like whatever you could to like stay warm. So and then I was so disoriented in my sleeping bag. Like I didn't know, like when I would wake up like halfway through the night, I didn't know if I was like turned around or like where I was like on my sleeping pad, if I was on top of somebody, like I had no clue. So I just like kind of like move around until I
work together to set camp and to tear down camp, and it was really some mornings when we were taking down camp though, that was especially a challenge because for me personally, and I think for you as well, my hands were so cold, like I couldn't even open a Ziploc bag. I couldn't do anything, like I just couldn't use them. So that's why a lot of times I took it upon myself to like start the meal because it was kind of gratifying in ways. And then when the guys got into it, we got campfires going, and I was excited on many levels because you could warm yourself, and then you could dry your socks, and you could dry your boots, and campfire talk.
I have to say one of my favorites is when we were caving, and I was leading, and I got up into this, this area where I was able to stand up. And I was telling everybody behind me, I was like, there's a bat flying around. And I was like, there's a bat flying, just so you guys know, there's a bat flying. And then I'm like, at my face! And I like ducked down, and this thing came like 2 inches in front of my face. It was like kamikaze bat.
Part of me was the kid thing where all the times I'd heard my mother say, don't get dirty, don't get dirty. And here it's like, get dirty, get real dirty, get down and dirty, have all the fun you want. So here you can muck around in this amazing world because we have the external backpacking experience, we're on top of the earth, we're doing all that. But then too we have the caving one, which represents a lot of the work we do in class, which is the inner work. We go within, we go into the dark, we go into that damp place that can be a little scary and haunting to enter, and yet when we come through that and like coming out the entrance, there's a rebirth, there's a renewal of life.
I was really disappointed in coming back. I was just not ready for it. I felt like the experiences that I had in the woods and what I was learning, I didn't learn it. I was in the process of learning it, and it felt really premature, like suddenly being unplugged, like when you push eject on a CD and it comes out and it's still spinning because you didn't push stop.
While hiking 30 miles and sleeping under tarps won't be a weekly occurrence for these students, the lessons learned this week will be a constant reminder of the growth and change that took place during a most pivotal time in a college student's life. Reporting for WMU Student News, I'm Carolyn Binder.